So I got off work today, changed into my sweats, and jogged to the club a couple blocks from the office. But I didn't get more than 100 feet when a few black youths, who may have been in their early 20s, spied me and one shouted, "Hey, look at the white man running!" And then they laughed. An angry retort simmered inside as I fought the urge to shout, "I'm Cowlitz Indian and you can keep your racist attitude to yourselves." Instead, I ignored them and upon reaching the club added my anger to the frustration from the day and took it out on the weights. Where did these punks get the idea it's okay for them to be racist? More to the point, where did they get the idea that it's okay for them to express racist attitudes towards strangers on the street? Are they the product of a single-mother household? Did they never have a father to teach them better? You can never tell just by looking at somebody. When they looked at me, they saw a white man. They don't know that before their parents were born, I endured racial violence for being Indian. They don't know that when I was their age, I endured more racism because by that time the world saw the same thing they did, a white man. A few days ago, an image popped up on my Facebook feed from an acquaintance who is an official in an American Indian health organization. It was a quote from Tawny Engelman on Huffington Post regarding the Stanford rape case. Quote, "Sexism is when a judge gets to legally prioritize the safety of a rapist over the safety of every single woman he'll ever come across in his life. Racism is when prison is full of black males charged with nonviolent offenses but considered too severe for a white rapist convicted of 3 felonies. Privilege allows you to read that and still roll your eyes and deny that either exists." Close quote. Janice Fiamengo made a great video addressing the Stanford rape case, and I'm not going to rehash it here. The link to her video is in the low bar. I'm not going to talk about the thousands, if not tens of thousands, of female rapists who get off with a slap on the wrist, if that. Nor am I going to address the issue of black and white men imprisoned for nonviolent offenses. If she were a libertarian, she would probably not be writing for the Huffington Post. But I was annoyed by the politically correct nonsense of the quote. It's typical of the sexist, racist nonsense I regularly see and hear from American Indian friends and acquaintances. So here's how I responded to him. Quote, "Sexism is when a woman has sex with a man, a week later gets mad when he doesn't return her calls and accuses him of rape and his life is destroyed. Sexism is when 1 in 50 college women are victims of rape or sexual assault, but feminists, the mainstream media, and even the President of the United States claim it's 1 in 5 and that every male is a predator who needs to be blamed and shamed for the crimes of a few. Racism is when police shoot and kill more white males than black males, and most of the black males who are killed by other black males, and yet the media blames this on white males. Racism is when thugs representing Black Lives Matter shout down and attack any person of any race who rejects the "all white men are racist" meme. Privilege is when you can attack and blame and shame to control somebody and are not only allowed to do so, but are praised for it. Want to know who doesn't have privilege? Look at who the mainstream doesn't allow you to criticize. I am an American Indian man. We have met. As a child, I was beaten and stoned with rocks, not drugs, by white boys and girls while the white teachers looked away. But because I don't look Indian, when I was an adult, I was told by people like you that I have white privilege. Were you beaten and stoned for being Indian? Were you put in the back of the room and told to shut up and not ask questions because you were Indian? Were you ignored and treated like a second-class citizen because you were Indian? I was, right up until I was treated that way because I am a white man. I am both. I am an Indian and I am a white man. So what can you possibly tell me that will persuade me you know more than I do about racism? What can you possibly say that will persuade me I should share your racist view of white people? That was my reply to him, and I was reminded of that when the black youths laughed and jeered. Hey, look at the white man running! Are they the products of a single-mother household? Or are they simply the products of a society that teaches them to be self-entitled because they're blacks and therefore victims, but only of white men? Just as they couldn't tell by looking that I'm an Indian, there's no way to tell just by looking at them. But one of the reasons people throughout the West are starting to support people like Donald Trump is because we're fed up with the foul attitude of punks like them, the sneering sexism of foul females like Tawny Engelman, and the sick and twisted logic that says the right and just response to racism from generations past is racism against the descendants of the very people who put an end to that racism.